Crossing plus outlying continent plus weak system+Strong subjective consciousness plus intelligence online plus the group image plus the group composition. Martial arts to the left, martial arts to the right. This is a multiple choice question. Chen Shun said, only children do multiple choice questions. I want everything. Several years later, Chen Shun ascended to the top of the human world and sealed the heavenly gate with a single sword. From now on, the sky is the sky, and the world is the world. Someone asked him, how did he start from a mailman at the Tooth Gate and become the guardian deity of the human world who could kill the immortals in one fell swoop? Chen Shun smiled and said, without him, we aim for a recklessness. If a person is reckless and not competent, then form a group and be reckless together. Chapter 1. Suppression of Horse Bandits, Young Man Trapped in Prison. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The Qingzhang continent is divided into 6 major states, and the Jing dynasty of Zhongzhou raised flags on the graves of the old dynasty to establish the country through military power. For decades of warfare, the Jing dynasty swept through Zhongzhou and made the 4 barbarians submit, either as vassal states or as vassal states, dominating Zhongzhou for hundreds of years. In the 388th year of the Jingli reign, it was spring. The Jinghuang Kaotianji pavilion is rumored to be terrifying. The purple Vibrio star appears, the Tianji instrument collapses, and the Emperor star flashes in Qingzhou. The emperor was greatly shocked and angry. The commander of the governor's office issued a secret order in the form of a heavenly seal. To arrest the emperor and bring him back to the capital to offer sacrifices to the heavens. At night, the 18 cavalry commanders of Kyoto town left the capital and headed for Qingzhou. The afterglow of the sunset dyed half of the sky red, and the earth seemed to be stained with a layer of blood. To the west of the vast mountains of Qishan in Qingzhou, there is a battlefield filled with smoke and shouting of killing. On one side, catapults, ladders, and siege hammers took turns to battle, while on the other side, bows and arrows, rolling stones, and hot oil poured out one after another. At first glance, it seems like a fierce battle between siege and defense. What lies between the two sides is not a thick and sturdy city wall and gate, but a stone fortress gate built against the mountain. The Xie family army has been attacking the Menghu fortress for 3 days and 3 nights, sacrificing a lot and damaging many supplies, but still unable to capture this most important dangerous pass, causing the morale of the Xie family army to decline and the troops to become increasingly tired, with a great potential for retreat. It is this fortress gate that is easy to defend but difficult to attack, which has left the powerful Xie family army helpless. It is actually a Waterloo on the Xie family army's road to suppressing bandits. The Xie family army has been suppressing bandits in Qishan for over a month now. If they were to be defeated and retreat back to Taibai County, wouldn't they want the people of Taibai to laugh and die in bed? So head coach Shane is very angry. He has already issued an ultimatum to the vanguard commander Zhou Dali. If the Tiger Fortress is not captured before dawn tomorrow, Zhou Dali will raise his head to meet him. And in the camp 5 miles behind the battlefield, a solitary cage is holding a young man. At this moment, the young man was sitting on the ground with his back against the cage pillar, his eyes gazing at the sunset on the western peak. His left hand was constantly tapping his fingers, but his face was solemn. The young man's name is Chen Shun, and he will turn 16 in a few days. He is a postal worker from Yamen Village, Taibai County, Qingzhou. The so-called postman refers to a postal worker who specializes in running errands to deliver letters. The reason why he appeared in the military camp of the Xie family was completely due to the violent coercion of Commander Zhou Dali. Because he is one of the few young people in the dental family with no background yet. But unfortunately, Chen Shun was diligent enough to earn as much money as possible to treat his sick father's illness. He sent letters that others thought were too far away and didn't want to send. He takes on a job that others find too little money unwilling to take on. Even some underground letters that he dares to deliver to the bandits' den in Qishan. Over time, he became a special presence in various bandit dens in Qishan. The leaders of various bandit strongholds tacitly agreed not to make things difficult for Chen Shun, and sometimes even allowed him to have meals, rest, and even stay in the stronghold, just for Chen Shun to continue delivering messages and sending letters to them. So Chen Shun, one person and one horse, spent 3 to 2 years understanding the terrain and distribution of bandit dens in the Qishan area. This time, Xian led the Xia family army into the mountains to suppress bandits, and Zhou Dali, with a lively mind, kidnapped Chen Shun to his side early on. Chen Shun was asked to draw a topographic map of the surrounding area of the Tiger stronghold, and even the distribution of terrain, rough defense arrangements, personnel structure, etc. inside the Tiger stronghold were dug from Chen Shun's body. Unexpectedly, even with Chen Shun's intelligence, Zhou Dali, as a vanguard army, spent 3 days and 3 nights unable to break through the gates of the Tiger stronghold. This has angered the irritable Zhou Dali. He felt that this was all due to Chen Shun's intelligence being incorrect, so he threw the blame on Chen Shun and ordered someone to imprison him. When the suppression of the bandits was over, he would take his life. Alas, it has been more than half a year since I traveled to this world. Now that my life is almost gone, why haven't I developed any special abilities, young master? After reading novels, others will develop various amazing special abilities, such as dominating the world, becoming wealthy, or overflowing with talent to cultivate invincibility. In short, it's just how the amazing abilities come from, how can they just pull their hips when they come to me? Even if you don't have any special abilities for me, you can give me back my original hypnosis, right? I'm almost dead, but I haven't shown in this world yet. I don't agree, my goodness. While snapping his fingers, Chen Shun roasted in a low voice about God's injustice to himself. In his past life, he was an internationally renowned psychological counselor and had been practicing ancestral hypnosis for many years, with profound achievements. He has cured various cases of extreme psychological distortion and is also the backbone of his hospital. In addition, he is often invited by the Public Security Bureau and a special department to help solve cases, and even try some enemy spy cases. As long as he uses hypnosis, the hypnotized person has no secrets in front of him. But unfortunately, it has been more than half a year since he traveled to this world called Qingcang continent, and he still hasn't been able to regain his former abilities, which makes him very angry. In the cage, Chen Shun practiced clicking his fingers repeatedly, practicing his pupils at the sunset repeatedly, while silently praying in his heart. I just hope Zhou Dali can boost his morale and conquer the Tiger stronghold today, giving him a glimmer of hope. Otherwise, he will die. The sunset was engulfed by the peaks of the Qishan mountains, and the sky darkened. The campfire gradually lit up in the campsite, and the distant battlefield also drew in. It seems that Xie Jiejun's attack on the fortress today has once again ended in failure. Several sheets of parchment were smashed into Chen Shun's face through the cracks in the cage. Chen Shun looked up and saw the tall and muscular man Zhou Dali standing outside the cage, almost bursting with epithelial armor, glaring angrily at him. Chen Shun, take a look at the fake terrain map and intelligence you provided yourself. You've killed me this time. Half of Zhou Dali's body was stained with blood, and he pointed a long knife at him and cursed angrily. Chen Shun picked up the parchment on the ground and flipped through it, feeling very speechless. Are you so special that you can also rely on it? This topographic map and intelligence were not the one he gave Zhou Dali, but rather the one Zhou Dali tampered with privately. The fundamental reason for the failure of the attack was that the Xie family army underestimated the strength of the Tiger stronghold. Zhou Dali, who was at the vanguard, was exhausted and threw the blame onto him. But what can he do? Did you run over to Xian and say that the terrain map and intelligence were forged by Zhou Dali, not the one he gave? How could Xian possibly believe in him as a postman instead of his own legitimate confidant, the centurion? Besides, he also needs a chance to see Shane. Sigh. Seeing Chen Shun remain silent, Zhou Dali became increasingly angry. If we can't capture the gates of the tiger stronghold before dawn, Lord Xie wants me to raise my head to meet you. Since I can't survive, I'll kill you little bastard first. Go to hell. Dang wow, the chain of the cage was broken by Zhou Dali's knife. Zhou Dali pulled Chen Shun out of the cage and kicked him to the ground. Poor Chen Shun suffered a kick from Zhou Dali, and in that moment, he felt like he was hit by a car, flying more than 10 meters away and hitting the mud hard. Chen Shun's organs surged and he couldn't help but spit out a big mouthful of blood. His face turned pale and pale, looking extremely weak. To be honest, he was almost kicked to death by Zhou Dali's kick. Suppressing the pain, Chen Shun propped himself up on the ground with his hands and sat up comfortably. Zhou Dali rushed over with just one step and raised his long, swinging sword to chop at Chen Shun's head. Wait a minute! At the critical moment of life and death, Chen Shun burst into a cold sweat and shouted anxiously. Zhou Dali's knife did not fall for the time being, but he still held it high and sneered, "What else do you have to say? Don't worry, after you die, I will apply for a war death pension for you, so that your sick father won't hiccup so quickly." Chen Shun wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth with his sleeve and said sincerely, "Sir, you can only vent your anger by killing me, but it's of no use. I still can't keep Lord Xie from cutting you. Do you think this is the truth?" "That's right." Zhou Dali remained non-committal to Chen Shun's words, but gave him a disdainful look and continued to sneer, "But, killing you, I'm so happy. After speaking, I will wave my sword again." Chen Shun tightly held Zhou Dali's elbow as he swung his knife, quickly analyzing the pros and cons for him. "Sir, it's not great if it's just a momentary pleasure," he said. "If we can make achievements on the battlefield, drink the strongest wine, blanch our loved ones, and live happily ever after, that would be the most satisfying, wouldn't it?" Zhou Dali is a bit confused. Chen Shun's words seemed incomprehensible to him, and he was working hard to understand them in his mind. He didn't continue to wield his sword for the time being. Seeing Zhou Dali's intention to continue listening, Chen Shun continued, "Sir, why don't you give me a chance? I have a way to open the gate of the stronghold before dawn and help you break through the tiger stronghold." Xian felt a chill in his heart and asked in confusion, "Really?" Chen Shun tried to gather a smile and said, "Your Excellency, you are so wise and talented. How could I possibly deceive you?" "That's also true." After listening to Chen Shun's flattery, Zhou Dali suddenly burst out laughing and said, "I warn you, if you dare to take the opportunity to sneak away, when I return to Taibai, you will definitely make your father, who is sick and sickly, worse off than dead. Remember it for me." Zhou Dali sternly warned Chen Shun to prevent him from escaping. Chen Shun struggled to stand up on his knees and chuckled at Zhou Dali. "How could it be? If I say I can do it, I will definitely do it. I won't joke about my father's life, please rest assured." Zhou Dali didn't take it seriously and couldn't help but say, "That's pretty good. Let's talk about it. What do you have in mind?" Chen Shun glanced at the hidden Tiger Peak in the darkness, as well as another unnamed peak not far south of the Tiger Peak. He came up with a plan and said, "Sir, I need you to take me to see Lord Xie and ask for a handwritten letter from Lord Xie. Oh, please put down your knife and listen to me first. I promise not to speak recklessly in front of Lord Xie, otherwise you can stab me to death. The autumn wind is howling, and the night is as cool as water." In the handsome tent of the campsite, candles were brightly lit and 3 figures appeared. "Sit, stand, kneel. Chen Shun, I have written you the surrender letter you requested, and I have also given you the ropes and oilcloth you requested. I hope you don't disappoint me." Xian sat upright in the general's chair, with one hand on his forehead, and spoke to Chen Shun kneeling in a mournful tone. Zhou Dali suddenly led Chen Shun to find him, saying that Chen Shun had a way to help him break through the tiger stronghold. Xian originally did not believe it, because Chen Shun is familiar with it. Since Chen's father fell seriously ill 3 years ago and could no longer work to support the family, it was Xian who took over his father's job by allowing 13-year-old Chen Shun to take over. He started working as a postal worker in front of his teeth, which prevented the old Chen family from starving to death. But Chen Shun had a timid personality since childhood, living a submissive and obedient life. He has been taught to practice swordsmanship by his father since childhood, but he has never made significant progress, nor has he worked hard to practice, nor has he ever interacted with anyone. Until now, he doesn't know if it counts as a grade. Chen Shun, who is like this, must believe that he can create miracles and help the Xia family army break through the Tiger Fortress. Xian could never have imagined it. If the Tiger stronghold could persuade surrender with just a surrender letter, he wouldn't have suffered a major defeat here for 3 days and 3 nights. But at this point, Xian could only hold on to the attitude of being a dead horse and a living horse doctor, and give Chen Shun a try. Because there's not much time left for him. This Tiger stronghold and another bandit stronghold 100 miles away. Jinlong stronghold. Are the 2 most powerful bandit strongholds on the sides of Qishan Taibai and Jinghu. After the Jing dynasty of Zhongzhou launched an army to attack Qingzhou in the north, the Qingmu kingdom was divided into 4 parts, and all the feudal lords supported and valued their troops. Many military leaders led their legitimate troops to become bandits. The leader of the Menghu village and the leader of the Jinlong village are one of the army leaders who fell into rebellion. Moreover, the 2 are still in the same robe and have a good relationship. They often mirror Buddha and support each other, which makes Xian, the supervisor of the county of Taibai County, have a headache. It was precisely because secret intelligence revealed that the leader of Jinlong stronghold was seriously ill and had already arranged for some people to go out to other areas to catch the autumn breeze that Xian wanted to seize this opportunity and enter Qishan to engage in a blitzkrieg. I want to first eliminate the fierce Tiger stronghold, which is closer to Taibai County and has fewer bandits, with only 5 or 6,000 people. As long as he first annihilates the Tiger stronghold, he absorbs and transforms the people, treasures, and supplies of the Tiger stronghold, and continues to develop and strengthen his team of 30,000 people, making himself stronger. It is only a matter of time before he continues to annihilate the Golden Dragon stronghold. It has been 3 days and 3 nights since launching the attack, but he still hasn't been able to succeed. Calculating, the reinforcements sent by the Tiger stronghold with the support team from the Golden Dragon stronghold should also be arriving soon. If he still can't break through the Tiger stronghold before dawn, he will have to choose to retreat. Otherwise, when the people from Jinlong stronghold come to their aid, he will be in a dilemma of being caught between 2 sides. So, he had to bet on Chen Shun. Please rest assured, adults. Chen Shunding will not disappoint his mission. Chen Shun took the envelope handed over by Zhou Dali with both hands, took him into his arms, stood up, and bowed to Xian. Sir. Before leaving the military account, Chen Shun suddenly turned around and asked eagerly, if Chen Shun succeeded in helping you break through the Tiger Fortress, could you promise Chen Shun something? You say. Xian remains non-committal. Chen Shun bent down to express his gratitude and sincerely said, regardless of whether I can come back alive or not, please take more care of my father in the future. His illness is very serious, and I implore you to find a famous doctor to treat him. Okay, I promise you. Xian stood up rare and walked up to Chen Shun, patting his shoulder. But I hope you can come back alive. After everything is done, I will definitely be rewarded heavily. Thank you, Lord Chen Shun. Chen Shun left the handsome tent, 1 person and 1 horse, and rode alone out of the camp in the darkness. Chapter 2. Facing Life and Death, Awakening the Talent Tree. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Although it is only early autumn, the night wind on the mountaintop is colder than at the foot of the mountain. The summit of this unknown mountain peak is flat, as if it has been cut off by a celestial immortal with a sword, and there happens to be a flat area hidden inside. This place is not very large, only 10 zhang in length, but for Chen Shun, it is already sufficient. Standing on the peak and looking north, 2 or 3 miles away is the Tiger Peak where the Tiger Stronghold is located. The location of Menghu Peak is excellent, with a valley at the foot of the mountain, lakes, and rivers. It is not only suitable for living, but also for growing food. In addition, it is surrounded by mountains on 3 sides, with only one entrance and exit. Building the fortress gate at the entrance and exit between the 2 peaks is naturally a pocket-shaped defensive fortification that is easy to defend but difficult to attack. When Chen Shun traveled to this world half a year ago and was running horses and delivering letters in Qishan, he accidentally discovered this mountain peak. I immediately climbed up and explored it. Now it's better. The unintentional action of the past could not have given him a chance to come back to life today. As a knowledgeable individual in his past life and an internationally renowned psychological counseling expert, with Chen Shun's eyes, one can easily see that this mountain peak is a flaw in the Tiger Village. It's just that people in this world don't know. Perhaps some people know, but unfortunately, the soldiers cannot fly. If you can't fly, you won't be able to enter the Tiger Stronghold, so it's useless. People who can enlist in the military are mostly ordinary people without cultivation talents, or low-grade martial artists with extremely low martial arts talents, and naturally cannot fly. Even martial artists with outstanding martial arts talents cannot resist the sky until they reach a high level. Having been on the Qingzhong continent for half a year, Chen Shun naturally gained a lot of knowledge about this world. He knew that there were very few talented martial artists in Qingzhong continent, and it was difficult to find a talent for cultivation. It was just as difficult as trying to find 11 football players in a past life to lead the national team to win the World Cup championship. So, although there are mysterious cultivation sects and skilled experts who come and go in the clouds and mist in the Qingzhong continent, most of these experts do not participate in secular struggles and only focus on seeking the Tao. Qingzhong continent, in the end, is still home country and the world. It is the heavy supporters who hold power, the skilled and victorious ones who establish rules and control order, rather than the practitioners who control order. Chen Shun naturally cannot fly, but he knows how to use air buoyancy to achieve flight. He plans to make his own triangular glider and fly into the Tiger Fortress. In his past life, Chen Shun often played high-altitude parachuting and also had experience with unpowered delta-wing gliding adventures, and he was very familiar with these techniques. Although he had never experimented like this in the Qingzhong continent, he still had confidence in himself because Zhou Dali's persecution forced him to take the risk and give it a try. The saying goes that if you capture a thief, you must first capture the king. Only by taking the risk of capturing the leader of the Tiger Stronghold, can the gate of the stronghold that has been unbreakable for a long time be opened from within. But a new question arises. Even if Chen Shun can really fly into the Tiger Stronghold with his gliding wings, with his strength, can he capture the leader of the Tiger Stronghold? Chen Shun is not considering this for the time being. Let's go in recklessly before we talk. With the faint moonlight, Chen Shun began to take action. The sound of logging on the mountain peak sounded, and a large area of resilient stone bamboo was affected. About 2 hours later, the triangular glider was ready. Chen Shun carefully examined the triangular glider under his feet, feeling very satisfied. Although it is not possible to install airbags on the floating wing, with his craftsmanship and experience, the gliding wing can only carry the weight of one person and fly 2 to 3 miles on the ground, which should be sufficient. After recuperating for a while on the mountaintop, the Xian moon hung high above the dome. Midnight arrives. Chen Shun propped up his glider wings, ran up for a distance, and bravely jumped off the mountain peak. Gliding wings carry Chen Shun flying in the wind, like a big peng in the dark night, rushing straight towards the Tiger Stronghold. The leader of Menghu village comes from a regular military background. Even if they become bandits, they still make Menghu village look like a regular military camp. He stationed a large number of bandits at the gate of the village and in the valley behind him. At the same time, multiple secret outposts were arranged around the village, and people were on duty day and night. The martial arts arena is located in the valley, and the camp is located in the valley, but the families of the bandits are concentrated and arranged to live on the mountainside near the inside. Bandits usually train in the martial arts arena and also engage in land reclamation during their leisure time. But there is not much land available for farming in the valley, and family members usually cultivate crops and raise poultry at the foot of the mountain. They can also work in the simple forging and weaving workshops in the village to exchange for extra silver and supplies. Judging from this posture, the tiger stronghold is really being taken care of like that. No wonder it has such strong combat power. It was already midnight, and everything was silent. The horse bandits who had been fighting fiercely at the gate of the tiger stronghold for a day returned to the camp for rest and replaced them with a new group of horse bandits to guard. On a high hill to the south of the mountain valley, there are 2 bandits guarding the pavilion at this time. "Huzi, come and have a drink with uncle. The temperature in this mountain is not as high as outside, and it's a bit cold in the middle of the night. Drinking some wine can warm up your body." A middle-aged man picked 2 wine cakes from his waist and threw one to another young man on duty with him. "Uncle, don't let anyone notice. Our village is currently at war, and the leader strictly prohibits anyone from drinking while on duty." The young man named Huzi was startled by the middle-aged man's words, shrunk his neck, glanced around, and whispered to persuade him. "Cut, you're afraid of a ball. With the terrain of our village and the ease of defense and difficulty in attacking our gate, what if we give EP1-10 10 times more troops? All for nothing." The middle-aged man was completely indifferent and skillfully took out a bag of peanuts and a roasted chicken from his arms, drinking them freely on his own. Judging from his skilled movements, he appears to be an experienced hand. And EP1-2 in his mouth is Xian, the supervisor of the county of Taibai County. Xian is only in his 40s, but for some reason he has turned white. Therefore, the bandits in the Qishan area jokingly call Xian EP1-2. "I know, uncle. I'm not worried about the village falling, but I'm afraid that the big boss will punish us if he finds out." Huzi is timid and still a bit timid about openly violating the rules set by the big boss. Afraid of a ball. The middle-aged man squinted his eyes and looked at the tallest wooden house on the mountainside of Menghu Peak. He chuckled contemptuously and said, as the head of the family, "I'm afraid we should be holding his newly snatched wife and rolling sheets on the bed at this moment." He. Huzi's face turned red and he felt a little ashamed of the middle-aged man's vulgar words. He whispered, "Uncle, don't chew your tongue. I'll accompany you to take a few sips, but I'm not very good at drinking yet. If I get drunk, you'll have to carry me back." "Ha, drink it. If you're a man, you have to drink strong liquor. Otherwise, how can you go to the battlefield and fight in the future? Drink it. Where do you want to sleep after drinking? Tell uncle, who will carry you to knock on her door." Ha. "Uncle, you're really shameless." The night breeze was getting colder, but the 2 of them drank more and more vigorously. I don't know if it was because Huzi had a thin skin and was embarrassed by the middle-aged man's vulgar words, or if it was because of alcohol, his face turned red and even his eyes began to blur. After a moment, the middle-aged man suddenly pointed to the night sky heading south and said to Huzi, "Huzi, look, there's such a big bird flying over there." "Yes, uncle. It's such a big bird, it should be 3 or 4 zhang in size. I've never seen such a big bird before." Ha, then let's go pee. Uncle shows you what a big bird is." Huzi's drunkenness was on his mind, and he had already put aside his shyness and reserved demeanor. He shouted, "Bibi. Just compare, you little brat hasn't even grown hair yet. How dare you shout at uncle? Let's go." So the 2 of them helped each other out of the pavilion and started irrigation work by a shrub. "Oh, Huzi, take your aim and don't get on my feet." "Sorry uncle, I didn't stand firm." "I'll fuck your mother, don't face me." "Damn it. Ouch." Suddenly, there was a clattering sound in the nearby forest, accompanied by a pitiful scream. Who? Who was peeking at your grandfather watering the flowers in the forest? The middle-aged man who had just tied his waistband immediately looked towards the direction of the sound coming from the woods. Who's he, you're guarding in the pavilion? Uncle, go see who's so bold. How dare you sneak a peek at us? We're even more mocking than birds, humph. Well, uncle, go ahead. Who's-he murmured and gradually leaned against the wooden pillar in the pavilion, falling asleep. The middle-aged man smiled helplessly, then grabbed his long sword, shook his slightly dizzy head, and the cat crouched down, touching towards the direction where the sound of ouch came from. In the forest, Chen Shun jumped off the tree trunk. The triangular gliding wing has been broken by a branch and is no longer usable as it hangs from the treetops. He touched his head, which was slightly painful from being hit, and cursed softly, "It's really painful to hit it now. After a long time, I'm still unfamiliar with this thing." Sigh. Surrounded by dense tree shadows, the night wind sobs. Chen Shun tidied up his military uniform, pulled out his long sword from his waist and tightly held it in his hand. Under the faint moonlight, I could clearly identify the direction towards the village. As I was about to touch inside, I was suddenly forced to stand still by a bright long sword. "I'll give you a kiss, how did you get in?" The middle-aged man placed a long knife around Chen Shun's neck and walked step by step out of the darkness in the forest, admiring Chen Shun's Xie family military uniform and the novel gliding triangular wing on the top of the tree. At this moment, his eyes were sharp and his movements were not lackluster. Where could he still look like he was drunk and drowsy when drinking with Huzi before? Clearly, he is an incredibly agile and versatile welding soldier. "As you can see, it flew in," Chen Shun said with a helpless smile as he threw away his long sword and was caught first, "You fart." The middle-aged man couldn't help but curse, "Do you think you are the noble bird man in the Yanzhou feather tribe? Long wings. Can you fly? I made a bigger kite and thought I could fly." The middle-aged man's words suddenly stopped. Because he suddenly realized a fact that Chen Shun was indeed standing in front of him, not flying in. How else could he get in? "Chua, you're being careless. I don't care how you got in, encountering me is your misfortune. Go to hell." Middle-aged people don't care about those many things. When they encounter enemy spies sneaking in while on duty, according to the rules of the leader, they have the right to execute first and report later. A long knife cuts through the cold night sky, and white light suddenly rises. Chen Shun is in danger. Although the middle-aged man drank alcohol, with Chen Shun's current leg and foot skills, he is determined not to win this 100-battle welding soldier. What should we do? At that moment, Chen Shun's mind was spinning faster than the speed of light. But he realized that there was no solution. The next second, he will land his head on the ground. In the midst of danger, Chen Shun didn't care whether he could succeed or not, so he risked his life by tapping his left hand with a snap of his finger. At that moment, his pupils turned purple in an instant. The middle-aged man wielding his knife seemed to have been cast a spell, maintaining his sword-wielding posture and setting the land acquisition in place. Congratulations on the Hero's Awakening talent tree. At this moment, a emotionless voice suddenly appeared in Chen Shun's mind, and a virtual panel appeared. A tree-like shape appeared on the panel, which looked a bit like a thorn upon closer inspection. There were 2 branches on the trunk, left and right, each with some information marked on it. Chapter 3. Talent Tree, Martial Arts to the left and Martial Arts to the right. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De Ko Lois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 4. Spring Night Carving, Someone in the Corner. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De Ko Lois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 5. Big Boss, Midnight Official Proclamation to be a Dog. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De Ko Lois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 6. Struggling with life, reckless youth finally defeats Tiger. You are listening at novel full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 7. Youth Wrath, Publicly Deciding Life and Death. You are listening at novel full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 8. Birthday, the main card of the wordless god. You are listening at novel full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 9. Tiger Eater, is he a human or a demon? You are listening at novel full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 10. Breaking the Courtyard, Assassin Uncle and Nephew Searching for Target. You are listening at novel full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text.